Hello and welcome to UK Versus. Today we're going to get a little bit ahead of Buffalo and we're going to talk about the impact of Guilty Gear Strive on the current meta and what we expect to see at Buffalo. For this, as always, I'm joined by new play enthusiast and archive of the rules, Cam. And we wanted to get the impact of some of the most relevant meta players, so we brought the best Deku player in the world, but Kevin wasn't available, so we settled for Mitch.
Yeah, I was about to say I would jump in
Damn.
and correct you. I'm washed.
Yeah, his first time here, you're already throwing shade.
Not
Yeah.
Mitch's first time here.
Yeah, I've been here before.
Gotta go through. Oh, is it? No.
It's been a minute, but I've been here before.
Yeah, Mitch,
My memory is not the best.
I imagine that Mitch is going to be Cydia's partner for the quiz in a couple of weeks as well.
Ooh.
Probably, yeah.
I've asked 4 people if they want to do a quiz in 2 weeks, and it's making it one of the most difficult quizzes I've ever done. And I've told them essentially bring a partner because you're gonna need one.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
But anyway, let's talk about. Go. How have you
No, I
guys
was
been?
gonna say I'm not great with rules questions. I can do like small trivia stuff, and I know a decent amount about the IPs that are in the game. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to give anything away. That's a couple of weeks away, and I'm working on it at the moment. It's looking really cool. But we're here to talk about the impact of Guilty Gear. But how's your week been?
It's been a little hectic. I had finals for my associate's degree semester, like capstone. Basically, I don't know what it's. I think it's probably still called like a capstone over there. But yeah, I'm done with my business associates now. I finished up school for that. I have some like holiday stuff going on, like planning, driving around with like family and stuff like that. But prepping for Buffalo as well. So also just got back from Houston for Riftbound stuff. So been a little busy.
How have you been?
Not as busy. Work's just winding up because we're in our slow period and people are also deciding to just not be as useful because of the holidays. Holiday family stuff's always a bit of a mess trying to plan things, especially when you've got like a large blended family trying to figure out who's available when and all that. But otherwise, I haven't traveled to any tournaments. I'm not going to Buffalo. I don't need to worry about any of that.
Well, quickly before we get into Buffalo, how was Houston? I've seen a lot of stuff from Response on Play about it. I've seen a lot of stuff from Rift Lab and a lot of people on there. Are we going to be seeing some trading post content coming from Houston?
From Houston specifically, we might be a little light on content. For Trading Post people that went, it was just myself, Eli. As far as like people who were like there in the capacity of the team, I was just grinding side events, and kind of like taking advantage of the opportunity to like make money. Because I play a lot of different card games, and Riftbound was like in terms of like tiers of what I have been prepared for or like what I am like sweating in, I guess. I'm not like that good at Riftbound, so I kind of just like snap bought a premium ticket because I knew when they were going on sale and was like fortunate enough to get in, and that was like crazy enough value that I should just go regardless.
Yeah.
But Eli put a lot of work in, and his Annie list, he like helps the boys on True Champion Gaming. I think Caven got like top 16 or something like that with the Annie list that Eli and them worked on.
Oh, yeah.
And then my buddy Jeff, who lives in Michigan, he got the best of Lee Sin card. So I went
nice.
Yeah, so he made a cool 40K off of that, which is pretty sick. But it was a good weekend in general. I had a lot of fun. But I think in the future, a lot of us are kind of just like waiting it out and seeing how the game looks with more sets under its belt. Because like the set 1 meta was like fine, but kind of like a symptom of like a smaller card pool. And we're like kind of waiting to see like, are the characters that we like that come out in the future any good? Is it worth like playing more? How does it look in a few sets type thing?
Yeah, and for those of you who do not know why I had that exclamation and why they were able to make 40k off one card, so Riftbound had its own version of diversity pricing at Houston, where the people that went best with their legends got a 1 of 1 different to the metallic characters metallic legends that were available in the side events, it was a metallic, beautifully looking card, and the person who did the best with their legend got that card. So unfortunately, the Eli and Annie missed out because the person with Annie won it all.
Yeah, right.
But top 16 Lee Sin will get you the Lee Sin one, and I imagine that's a great way of, like I said, the set one meta is really healthy, but not a lot of people are out there repping things like Jinx. I know Timu and stuff like that. It's a lot of
Yeah,
characters out there don't.
it's a strange spot to be in because it's like it incentivizes, like you were saying, like it's the artificial diversity, like kind of from back in the day for UFS, but like in a sense of the first event of every new set that comes out for Riftbound is probably like the most valuable event to go through or to go to rather, because you get the opportunity to have the first best of metal card there. And it also means that like once you make the best deck or like figure out, oh, this is the best deck in the format, you have to make the decision of, cool, am I playing something to try and win like 30 to 40K and playing like a random deck and trying to see if it does anything into these things, or am I going to try my hardest to be the best at the best deck and see how far I get?
Yeah.
So it's like it's interesting and it's weird. I'm like I said, it's a for me specifically, it's a hurry up and wait type situation. Especially since at present, I believe that, and I could be wrong because I don't really pay too much attention to a lot of things. I think that the next regional for Riftbound is the same weekend as Worlds for UVS. So
Yeah,
I
Riftbound
probably
Vegas
won't.
is the same weekend as well. It's something that's gonna be quite interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm probably, in if that's the case, I'm probably not going to wind up caring about Riftbound until like set 3-ish.
That's fine.
But we'll see.
I do wonder how sustainable that kind of best of is, because I was kind of looking at here and someone like in the Discord said we have over 200 characters in standard, and Riftbound has a very similar rotation system to us. So in 3 years' time, they're going to have 200 legends roundabout in standard, and it's like, is it sustainable to be?
So
Someone,
it's like it's weird. It's weird, right? Because like in theory, if we're going by that logic, they'll catch up a lot faster. Because I think there's something like 170 something champions in League of Legends proper. So like at most they can make 170 like one at present like champions and legends or whatever without dupes. And then like I think they only had what like 8 in the main set and then 4 in the proving grounds for characters. I could be wrong
12
about
and
that.
4, I believe.
12 and 4. Okay,
12.
so yeah, 16 champions in the first initial wave, and I think we have the full spoiler for set 2 out, so I could figure out how many champions are in that one.
I think there's like 8. I could pull up it over, but we're not here to talk about Riftbound, so we probably shouldn't take on it.
No, right, literally, yeah. I was gonna say, wrapping this up. I think it'll wind up being fine in the long run in terms of they're not going to run out of material to use. It's just a matter of like rotation wise and like what your expected value is of like I am the second guy to get the Lee Sin metal card or whatever, and like how much do I sell that one for? But yeah, I mean that's like not for me or for the company to worry about necessarily. That's like a secondary market thing, and I'm sure it's just a matter of like meta diversity and health, and that's like something they'll figure out or won't. But,
it is something I'd like to see come back to this game, because I think Nats 2023 we had a pseudo diversity pricing of the best person on each character got additional promos at Nats. I was on I was on midnight and I ended up walking away with some additional of the Gen Con promos, I think it was.
Nice, yeah.
Which is really cool. But yes, so DLTK came out what 3 weeks ago for us, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say depends on who you ask. Yeah,
depends on where you are. Some of our stores still don't have it.
And some of you guys still don't have, and some of your stores still don't even have it. I think some places up in Canada are still waiting for it, but it seems to have been a relatively well received set. Some people were a little bit more hyped on the free momentum of tension, but they're actually getting to play it. They've realized how powerful these abilities are, myself included in that. And the characters themselves, one's already received an emergency day -1 errata because dumb combos are dumb. But starting off with the characters, do you think any of these hold any power in the current meta, and will they be showing up at Buffalo?
Um, yeah, so part of our Buffalo prep certainly was looking at Guilty Gear stuff and seeing like where does that slot in because it's always like the like kind of like flow chart of like okay, event just happened, it's right before the beginning of the like a next month. Is there a ban list? No. Okay, cool. So format starts the same. What do we think is the best decks? Like, what do we think is really good right now? Figuring out that, and then going, okay, cool. Here's these new cards. Do they make any of the old decks better, or is there anything new to go with from there that has like a good or like advantageous position into any of the decks that are already established? And realistically speaking, there's a lot of like cool tech in Guilty Gear to put into other stuff. And there's, I think, maybe like three characters that in the
Ooh.
current meta have a spot. But it's like it's tentative, right? So like in terms of stuff that I've seen that has potential so far, uh for characters specifically, post Bridget errata, there's probably something there. It's just not like as easy and straightforward. And she's like, she's a squishy seven-hander with 21 health that's only ability is -2 speed in a world where everything is getting like +5/5 from mutant machines at worst, and starting with a static +2 speed from Hanji at best. So like on face, making an attack just for base printed speed as your only defensive ability on a seven-hander, not the best. But like she has some amount of potential because her ability is very cool and she has like a lot of like sauce in that regard. And then there have been a couple of different lists for May that have like interesting stuff going on. I think that there's like you can kind of just create or not Phantom Thread, excuse me, Back Alley Haymaker in the aggregate with her if you play enough like low cost foundations and like 8 copies of Tasty Riff if you're brave. Uh, and like Great Yamada attack is a very strong effect, right? Like clogging a card pool for a turn cycle is part of what made like Shiva and like all those other characters the most obnoxious things in the world. Um, but again, you're like no defensive ability. And if your defensive ability is everything going right, resolving Great Yamada attack and not dying because your opponent checks poorly with only +1 to their string for the turn cycle, that's kind of like Fantasyland. So there might be something there with May. I think she has potential in terms of like her damage output and like the cool stuff that she has access to. And then the last character I have like some amount of faith in is Nagori Yuki, just because the damage output on that guy and the fact that you don't have to like the pro and con, the trade off of him is he's very Godzilla shaped in terms of like the damage output that he puts on every attack. But the downside is that unlike Godzilla, where you can go City Rampage and then roll your opponent's face off and never worry about your checks, Nagori Yuki can check bad and just lose as a result of it.
Hmm.
Like you do play some non-zero amount of stuff in your deck that's like 3 cost attacks that you just wear stats well on because like any piddly attack stats with +4 damage stapled to it is pretty good. Um, and like printing momentum with Roman cancel means that you can fuel echo abilities. So you can turn like you have a string of like one high 10 into one high 10 on echo on like rolling fours after you've played like one blood sucking universe, which is already going to hit your opponent for minimum 5 usually. So like you have a 25 damage swing right there with like a high block chump check, but we've already had another like 2 decks in the format that are high block chump check decks. So like people are already conditioned to hold high, and if that doesn't work, you've also usually burned yourself for 10. Uh, so it'll be interesting to see. I could talk more about like cards, but those are like the characters that I
Yeah,
have any
well,
amount of like equity in.
we'll get into the more detail of the cards and even like the Roman Council itself a little bit further down the line. No
Mhm.
consideration for Soul Bad Guy, the pseudo Godzilla.
So I think like pseudo Godzilla is pretty generous for Soul Bad Guy. Like I think he's cool, and I think he is a good character. The problem is, and like we'll get to it when we talk more about the cards in the set. He is gated around like cards that print you momentum, which there's like a handful of in standard currently, or any attack with tension, right? So like he can staple tension to your first attack, which fuels himself, which is good. But like outside of that, if you want to keep getting your response for +1 to like ignore prog functionally on your last attack, you have to play the tension cards. And not all of them are the best. Some of them are good, but like on average, if you're bogging your deck down with just cards that have tension on them, and that's like the plus side of playing them in your character is that it makes your character work better. You could just be playing a better character with better cards.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things he struggles with is popping it off defensively. So if you had a more consistent way to get +1 to the checks to deal with the final Devil Jin attack. The way to have this massive check ready for when Deku he launches his attack. He goes, cool, I've got +10 to my check. Let's see what
Yeah,
you can do there. It'd be a
right, for
lot
sure.
stronger. How about yourself, Cameron? Any characters you think will have an impact on standards?
I know a lot of people have been working with Nagoriyuki. A lot of people were more excited for him than I was when I originally read the character. I could see someone trying to put in soul bad guy work. I just had a local that had me design one for him that was mainly tension and echo focused. That finishes off on like a tyrant rave if you can get there. I know a lot of people are excited for May for like 8 copies of Black Abyss because that's just dumb. But personally, I hate Kai Kisuke. So I don't want him to show up. That guy has been the bane of my existence since he's released, and I just hate him. And one of my locals showed up yesterday with like a walk the dog Kai Kisuke that focused on like freezing everything with like some of the Attack on Titan attacks. And it's just like, cool. I had 8 foundations. My
Yeah,
turn.
right.
I have 2 foundations. And you've still got your Roman cancel yellow or whatever it is available. And I know a lot of people say that she's not great. I would not be shocked to see Aino make a top cut, just because I think people underestimate how sneaky the sealing ability can be when fused with cards like Megalomania and some of the Shoto 4 stuff, allowing you to re-ready when you seal or get damage when you seal. And all around just playing around the mind game of what zone you're going to, I could definitely see an Aino putting in work.
It's not
Yeah,
even just
way back.
not even just on the offensive side of it. The seal and zone changing on the defense really catches people off guard. I know a lot of people can get a lot overconfident when there's nothing you can do to stop this attack. So sure, change the zone. Like, cool, and then they go cross up protection. It deals no damage because the zone was changed. Like, I forgot that card was a thing. There's going to be a lot of people are not too familiar with the sets. So there's going to be a lot of things that catch them off guard. But Mitch, you had
Yeah.
something to say on this?
Yeah, I think Ino's really like cool, and I think her like the defensive aspect of her enhance is like very sick, right? But the problem is that like the way that people mitigate that in this format matters so much because like if you think about it on offense, a majority of the time people don't really need their like foundations text. So like it's not a real defensive ability in that regard. And also like in the current format, stats and like repeatable stat plus or minuses without like losing out on them for like a turn cycle or the game is like so important. Like characters that can repeatably without cost give plus or minus whatever are so important. And like I know changing the zone of something is really cool, but you know, if your opponent goes, that's fine, you can make my attack a whatever. You don't have because I'm pretty sure it's like all attuned or something like that. You don't have the like pseudo reversal card that says you can block on like a 4. So like making everything a high or making everything whatever block zone trick that you have is only so good as long as you can actually block it. But when everyone's putting like 2 to 5 speed minimum per attack repeatably on everything, and Ino only has 21 health, it's like a lot harder to like sell me on that being viable defense. But she is very cool.
Now, one character that you did mention that also does have access to aerial Kokosho, the 7/7/4 diff that you can play your opponent's turn, is Bridget. And Bridget can do some
Yeah.
very silly things and stuff like that. But as you said,
Yeah.
she's a very squishy. You need to block at least one thing before you can start using your abilities. But with Fillet Fling, if she high rolls, she can just kill anything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And like they mitigated the like easy version of the infinite, right? Like
Yeah.
you can still do her old infinite, you're just on rolling 5s, and you also have to have more pieces. Like you have to have 2 redundant pieces of one part of the combo. So like sure, if you find a way to play defense well enough with her, you can probably still do that. And it is still really hard to interact with that. So like it could happen, but I'm not overall convinced that like in this format specifically, where everyone's offense is so hinged on like I'm gonna do my unfair thing before you do yours, or like I'm gonna find an equitable way to interact with your unfair thing so that when you pass turn you die. I'm not positive she gets to that turn. Um, but I'm like, I'd be super down to see it because
Yeah.
I think like you were saying, everyone's really excited about this set. I think all the cards look great. That's like, you know, on the behalf of like Arc System Works, just having like crazy art in general for all their stuff because they're like the kings of like anime fighters and stuff. And in general, like the formatting and stuff is very good. And like a lot of people are excited about it. I am personally very excited about it. I think there's going to be like for like casual play or just like for fun, I'm going to bring a handful of these characters or like build a handful of these characters just to like have access to. Um, but in general, I think from like a competitive standpoint, it is very much so like, in my opinion at least, going into Buffalo, it's like these guys have a chance at like being in top cut. These guys are unproven, but like could show up later.
Yeah.
Probably not at like because the stakes for Buffalo are so high for a lot of people from between like sixth to like 12th place in the leaderboard standings for NA. Like anything could happen, and so many people are going there, so it's going to be a really sweaty like race to the finish in terms of the NA points leaderboard. So like the stakes being that high, I don't think people are going to take like stuff that's too unproven. But there are obviously, and I think in terms of cards specifically, which I guess we can go into now, there
Well,
are specific cards that are crazy good standouts for like
before
I
we go
think these are
into
playable.
so before we go into the playable cards and the cards that are going to impact on there, are there any current characters in standard that haven't seen as much play or haven't quite been able to top that you think have been bolstered, have received a guilty gear boon?
Oh, I think in general there is like, and it's like married to specific cards. There's a couple of different like characters that got a lot out of this set. Uh, like specifically, like you were saying with the like cross up protection or whatever. If you have a way to like change zones on stuff, there's like some air deku stuff with like any character that can commit something for a cost can change the zone of something and then have free blocks with cross up protection.
Mhm.
So like theoretically, there's like some front side Midoriya stuff going on there. Analytical observation is like really, really, really strong as far as like it's a spam that you can use in any of the fire aggro shells that just like turns off airy smiles on block, turns off whatever because you always win that like response war because you just flip their attack before they get to use it.
Mhm.
And then like the void defensive shells also get like insane amount of like leverage over the backup. There we go. That's that mechanic. Over the backup decks, because Armor-Clad Faith can just peel shift off of something.
Ooh,
Um,
yeah.
so like you in those decks, pretty frequently you're just like, well, those are the worst attacks for my opponent to throw at me because I'm a defensive deck and I can block everything, but those ones turn into something that I have to interact with. And I only have so many ways to like do that profitably, right? Like if you have like Violent Animus, you can only use those so many times in a long game if you're playing that long. But like Armor-Clad Faith being like, yeah, man, that's fine. You can throw your card that's supposed to be a throw at me. I'm gonna take shift away from it, and then I'll still take like my 8 damage, but you won't get to tutor next turn. So
That makes sense. Do you think with all this new seal support Shoto 4 has a chance?
oh yeah, something I was gonna talk about earlier. Part of why like I was pretty excited for Ino because like way back when I guess I say that, but it's only like realistically been within the span of like a year, I want to say. Back when the combined firepower was pre-errata, and we were trying to figure out like the best shell to put like the casino decks and stuff in. I was trying to before like Toga 2 rotated or whatever, and we landed on like that was the most consistent one, but yada yada. Um, I was trying to do Shoto 4 with it because in Shoto 4 your goal on your kill turn was going to just be like a lot of those decks got beat because they would put a lot of damage on stuff with the combined firepower, but they wouldn't put speed on it. And Shoto could go wide and like tall. Because if you had like the sealed one from Shoto, and then if you milled loss of consciousnesses over the course of your turn with all the mill effects, or like the seals in stage, you would be able to put like +3/3 per enhance for free on stuff. So I was really excited for like more seal support for that. And like that suite of cards works pretty well because I think a lot of Ino's stuff is like ranged as well. Um, but I think unfortunately where I wound up with like in the current game was like Megalomania is crazy and everything else is just like okay.
How about yourself, Cameron? Any characters you think you might poke their head into standard?
I know it's. I don't know about competitive, Because I do know that there have been some that I've been starting to look at a little bit more, like just for kind of goofy stuff. Like I want to play Potemkin Buster and Mount Lady 2. Uh, but I really am digging, as dumb as this character is, April from Turtles, because you get some new mill cards in Guilty Gear that some of them are also ally cards that can be picked up with like mutant mashup and stuff like that. So you can actually extend your string and mill even more, and just draw a whole bunch of cards with April for offense and defense. So I don't know if she's gonna make a splash because it's just not great, but it could be fun. But for like newer characters, I haven't really looked too hard because I don't know if Guilty Gear really solves any big problems for any other characters that we haven't seen aside from maybe like Ino support and Shoto 4, which could just interchange with Ino herself. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't think we've got any other big stuff.
There is one character I think might get a lot stronger just because we have more of the spell keyword, and that is Jester 1.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's like tied to Megalomania being crazy.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Yeah, Megalomania is nuts.
And that kind of circles back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of like that's like one of the in like the middle tier of like unproven characters that like probably are pretty good or like have a lot of stuff moving forward, but like what we know on paper, circling back, is like Hanj is good. So Hanj is on fire. Hanj definitely plays Megalomania because you turn your opponent's character off and then kill them with Hanj, right? So like she probably just on paper and immediately going into an event that is like a week away at this point plays that card better than or like plays that card and is currently better than Jester. So I don't think anyone plays Megalomania better than Jester because she can tutor it.
Yeah.
But like I think it's one of those matters of like, and the same thing with like all this talk about like Shoto 4 and like these other characters that get stuff like April. Like there's a lot of like cool cards for different like archetypes and characters in Guilty Gear. And I'm interested to see how those impact things. But the characters themselves, I think there's like only a couple that like can really hang with the big dogs at the moment. But another card that we didn't talk about that I have like been seeing people like with rumblings about, and like I guess in JJ specifically, his new character, you can like jellyfish pirates, I think is what it's called, maybe, or is it the one that stuff into your card pool?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can like jellyfish pirates heist into your card pool, and like it doesn't have to be your first form because it's just a card pool enhanced. So like if you are on Water Evil, which is not that many characters, but it's specifically JJ, you can just like shove heist into your card pool, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's also probably not bad for like if you're a fan of like Karama, like just making your opponent and yourself shove something else in your card pool that you can either like pick up or combo with the fact that like something ally something.
Tricky Spinner is the one that puts a card into your card pool.
Oh, okay.
That's the air all.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of Ocean Buddies, not Jellyfish Pirates.
Yeah,
it does have
Yeah, there's a UX that we spoiled it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it does. Both of them have May on it. I just forgot which one was the. I think it's
because I thought we were talking the 3/5 ultras, and I was like, I don't know if that's
the
what
foundation
does.
That makes every player stuff their card pool.
Yeah,
gotcha,
there you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Ocean Buddies, yeah.
Yeah, Ally Foundation, E-Flip. Each player adds one card from their card pile to their card pool. If you played a Roman cancel, each rival card added this way is put face down. But you don't really care that much about that when you're just shoving the what's it called, heist in. But yeah, there's like a lot of like cool tech cards for stuff moving forward, and I'm excited about that. And I think like in general, just based on like a set preview, not thinking about like the grand scheme or overall, but just like looking at Buffalo forward, there's like a lot going on there. But like the cards that I expect to actually see in Buffalo are like Megalomania, and a handful of like the fire attuned stuff, or just like fire main symbol stuff, possibly just in Hanj. But like fire aggro in general wins out really hard right here, just because there's like Hard Rock Witch, I think is the one that it's called, where it's like if your opponent uses an effect that would change the damage of your attack, cancel it. And it's just like it's a flip. Like that's pretty crazy. In addition, like we said, the analytical observation is just like anti-block trick. It's like Kirishima's assistance with like a better block modifier that also doesn't rotate in 2 weeks. So like
And you
Yeah.
can do, you can stop the breakers, you can stop dimension sphere, you can stop all these omni block tricks.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
like you said, there's some really powerful individual cards in there. Uh, I hadn't even thought about Hanj Megalomania. That's going to be an absolute nightmare if you don't have any momentum to prevent it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's brutal. Like especially like she already had a good Deku matchup, and now just like, all right, here's my first attack. It's Megalomania. Are you flashing this one, or are you not using your flash this turn? And then they go, well, I guess I'm flashing this one, and then you go, fantastic, Titan pile. Like
Yeah, I can see that.
that's tough. That's brutal.
Speaking of Titan Pile and potential answers to that, Roman Cancel. Do we think that's a potential answer to the late strings of Devil Jin, Deku, Godzilla just going, cool, I'll take three, show me another one?
I think it's
uh,
definitely something that people are going to have to pay attention to because I have walked into that a couple of times already.
yeah, I like how it plays in sealed a lot. Like the sealed for this set, I think is really strong. The thing with like Roman cancel is it's good. Like all the effects on the card are crazy. Like I think the issue is like we were saying, just like finding good tension attacks that you want to play. And there's also like they thought about it, right? It's not like a broken mechanic that you like, oh, I don't care that I'm playing worse tension attacks because the Roman cancel card is crazy. There's like counterplay and stuff to it. Shout outs to Brett in Scotland for like hooking us up with a translator. I had a conversation with Kevin, the best performing Midoriya, I think, actually.
Yeah.
uh, he's correct. But I had a conversation with him about it. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking a little bit about like Deku moving forward, and you're probably going to want to play like some more copies of Guardian Angel of Chinatown in whatever iteration you're playing, just to beat the Respond for 3. So like, there's ways to mitigate it. There's ways to get around it. But like in general, it's just another like hard to interact with because there's very few effects that like get rid of specific momentum.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to interact with that. Uh, and it's just another thing to like think about, right? It's like another layer of defense to get through. And it's something that you generate on your offensive turn just by playing your cards. So like incidental advantage is really strong in every game. And that like kind of they did a good job of balancing like if there were cards that had tension on them that were good, they would probably be like too good or like C play in everything just because yeah, why wouldn't I play a card that I would already play normally that also prints me maybe an Airy, right? Like
Yeah. I mean, all the best ones have kind of downsides to me for being a two check, no block modifier kind of thing. There's a lot in them. No, it's great to hear like Kevin's been on there. We've been having a bit of chat about Sun Jin Woo and stuff over the course of the week. They're preparing for the team warning community weekend in January, which I think some of the
nice.
numbers are going down for. It's going to be really cool. But yeah, I mean, tension is all over the set. But like you said, they have produced ways to do it. And if you are overly worried, you have got the foundation you literally just mentioned. I can't remember. That you can literally go, yeah, your attack loses
Guardian Angel
tension.
of Chinatown. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one
Or and
that's
the other one. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the one that strips a keyword. You go, yeah, you lose tension. Show me another one. Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So another character I missed in older characters that could be better with Guilty Gear, Amajiki, because all of those tension cards give you a face-up momentum.
That's true.
So you can, and he can play Guardian Angel of Chinatown to protect all that plus to his stuff. He gives really good damage reduction plus the Roman cancel damage reduction. It's just nutty.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. It's also one of those things where he can, during his turn with his I think it's manifest,
Yeah.
he can print himself. Yeah, he can print himself like an extra momentum. So like it is pretty good there. Like he'll always have the momentum, generally speaking. But like if you want to go like, cool, over the course of my string, here's my first attack, tension. Then I'll do like, manifest something into my momentum or like use the foundation that he has that just shoves itself into my momentum, enhance for +1 to my next check. If my opponent blocks this one, remove that momentum that I just printed myself and the first Roman cancel token, clear it, continue playing my string on like lower progressive. And then if you like keep printing Roman cancel tokens, it's just like progressively, it kind of like turns itself into frenzy in a weird way where like you get +1 damage for every attack you've played this turn functionally.
Yeah. Speaking of characters that love ways to spend momentum, how do you feel yourself gets on with tension and Roman cancel, having these guaranteed ways to spend momentum in your opponent's turn, giving you an attack with uh, the yellow response and the purple response, giving you a way to clear from your card or draw a card and go, cool, I now have another card coming to me in defense as well.
Oh yeah, it's great. I'm really excited about it. For like something I realized is I don't have a lot of play into the backup decks, at least on the good symbol version. And I found that out because I played Rocco, shoutouts to him, in Swiss and in Top Cut, and got demolished both times because there's very, very slim margins that I have to try and do something in that matchup. And if I miss them, then I'm just cooked. Uh, and I don't think I can take myself to Buffalo confidently. But I am definitely looking at stuff in Guilty Gear. I think the problem is just a lot of it is not attuned order or chaos, like the cool tension stuff. So I would have to like main symbol one of those, uh, or I would be like trying to fit these cards in just for their tension ability, which like it's pretty good in me 100% because like on the symbols that I am like currently struggling to answer questions with, it's how do I reasonably spend momentum on defense consistently? And if part of that is just, well, my offense that I can pass myself, which are these attacks that'll like likely hit, or if they don't, I can at least like maybe when I like get random momentum, pass them to myself. Well, I can answer the defense question with the offense. So like that's cool. So there's definitely something there. And if I have more time, like after Buffalo going into Worlds, when we have that like basically 2.5 month window of like, okay, cool, here's what the format looks like. Just gotta wait for January, see if there's a ban list, and if there's not, we've got month and a half to build, brew, and grind, right? Like
Yeah.
that'll probably be when I do like most of that discovery. But I am optimistic about it. I'm pretty excited to look into that.
But that's also when you get JJ, Yeetus, Deletus, and all the stuff entering the fray as well, which is
Mhm.
going to be a bit of a shake up.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're like JJ's character is really, really cool. And I think that I unfortunately I think rotation is really, really brutal to him. Because he loses out on stuff like showdown, airy smiles, like all the like crazy on block actions also. Uh, but I mean, like I'm excited to see what people come up with. JJ specifically, I'm excited to see what he wants to run with himself.
I'm excited to see what people cook up with Ashley because I know there's been a lot of discussion around Ashley being very powerful.
Yeah, Ashley's super cool. I Shri has been building a lot of different Ashley decks. He likes that play pattern in her character a lot. She also I think loses a lot from rotation, just like based on current attack packages that people are playing with like what is it called? Dual needle
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I mean like she's got a lot going for her and her character effect is very strong and cool. So I'm excited.
Are there any other specific cards you'd want to talk about from Guilty Gear?
Let me see. Not like anything specifically. I just if you have the opportunity, granted, because like distribution's weird. We I can't remember if you were in more than one of them, but when we did the like pre-releases in Scotland at the event, those were very cool. And I think like the set plays really well with itself in a sealed environment. And I think they finally like cracked sealed for this game because like usually I'm a big sealed hater for this game specifically because there's just so much that goes into making a deck that functions that like your deck can inherently start out way worse than your opponents, like all this other like blah blah blah. But this set with like the breakdown of like uncommons being your attacks, commons being your foundations, and every pack having like a character and this, that, the other thing. Like there's so much going for it, and all the mechanics play so nicely with themselves within like the self-contained set Guilty Gear that I think this is a really good introduction to sealed. And I think hopefully they take this and move forward with it like for other sets as well.
I don't know how
I
quite.
too hate sealed.
I don't know how quite sustainable it is for the bigger sets like say Godzilla. My first
Yeah,
experience,
yeah.
my first experience with sealed was the box battle Cameron I did last week. Unfortunately, I was playing retro, so I didn't get a chance to take part in the Guilty Gear sealed stuff. But I did manage to get a pre-release kit off you guys because you were very generous with those.
Yeah.
But I've heard great things about sealed here, and if they are going to be doing sealed at Buffalo, I 100% agree with Mitch. Check it out. Not only to get the beautiful alt-art promo, which we need for the 9x9, 3x3, but just because, like I said, you're guaranteed in that pre-release kit to get 36 foundations, 18 attacks minimum. So you're not having this issue people had with Jet Burn and Turtles, where you're just not seeing attacks, you're just not seeing anything you can use. You've got this guaranteed base of your deck, and then your rares and ultra rares are kind of more impactful. And you've got guaranteed 6 characters, which has always been great. And it's still likely you might see 6 of the same character, but I don't think it's happened yet.
Right. Or if you do, at least one of them will be an altar, and you'll be happy about that.
That's true.
Yeah.
The pull rates on this has been absolutely insane. I mean, there's been so many people pulling all arts and ultra rares in every single pre-release kit.
Yeah, pre-release kit pull rates are crazy just in general. Not even for this set alone, but just in general on this game. I feel like the most like juice you pull like out of pre-release kits. Like people will go like regardless of like set release date or whatever, they'll be like, "Hey, I bought some pre-release kits and look at this," and it's just like a chrome or like an alt art or like something crazy, and you're just like,
God, I wish I had that kind of luck.
right, literally. My first chrome literally ever in since I've bought at least one case of every set in the game from MHA 1 forward. This is the first time I've ever pulled a chromer, and it got eroded on my way home. So
it was a bit of an odd choice to give 6 of the 8 characters a chrome. I feel bad for, is it Happy Chaos and
Potemkin?
Yeah. I think
the 2 people are likely not going to play. But oddly enough, out of, I think, me and the guy I share a collection with, we've got 4 boxes total. Only 1 Happy Chaos pulled. And only 2 Nagora Yukis.
Interesting. Like
yeah, so I don't know why they don't expect. No, just like the regular characters.
Wild. That's crazy.
Yeah, I did pull 2 alt-art Happy Chaoses though.
Nice.
Or no, well, 1. Yeah, I traded for another one, and then he also got a really bad luck box because he got an alternate character. I think 1 alt-art ultra, but like no secret.
Oof. Yeah, the secret's supposed to be 1 per box, which that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so and he didn't even get like a 3rd alt art or anything, and I've got 3. I pulled 3 boxes, and I pulled 3 alt arts total, and one of those was an alt art secret. So
yeah, I want to say that like someone told me, because like I have friends that like actually really like fighting games and like don't play cards that frequently, or if they do, they play like casually at locals. And I showed one of them my Bridget Crumb, and they're like, "Oh, that's like her alt costume from like not Strive. It's like from a different game." So I was like, "Oh, maybe is like Happy Chaos not in any other Guilty Gear game besides Strive? Maybe that's why he doesn't have a Chrome." But I know Potemkin is in a bunch of different Guilty Gear games, so like maybe they just hate that guy. I don't know. But like,
I mean, if I had to pick between, if I had to play a 5-hander that was on Earth and Void, I'd probably go Metalhead.
Right. If I had to play a 5-hander on the Earth symbol, I'd pick Byakko probably, but that's where I'm at.
Big Cat is Big Cat.
Big Cat is Big Cat.
But I just thought it was pretty weird because we've had 8 chromes in pretty much every set in this year. Then we get 6 in Guilty Gear. That just feels bad. And we're getting 10 in Godzilla.
Yeah, right. They had to make up for it.
We came to talk about the impact. Is there anything else you guys really want to talk about, like Guilty Gear wise?
Not particularly. I mean, like, there's nothing we really can talk about in terms of like the shipping delays and stuff like that. It's a bummer that it happened, but I'm happy that at least it sounds like people are starting to be able to get their hands on the card stateside, / just in general. But yeah, it sounds like overall, I guess I'll pose the question to you guys. In your estimation and opinion, in a scale of like 1 to 10, what would you rate this set overall? Like, and that can encompass, like, your reasoning behind it can encompass like meta impact, how the cards look, and like how distribution was slash like what it does for the game.
I'll let you go first, Brett. I need to think for a minute.
Well, I'm not gonna tier list it with the other products that released this year because that's what we're gonna do next week on the show. We're gonna do a tier list of the products of the year. But overall, I'm a lot more satisfied with this Blitz box than I thought I was gonna be. It has the hybridization of attuned and unattuned. It's a little bit different than what I expected, but it's what I want moving forward. I want some cards to be attuned. I want some cards to be traditional resource symbols because it adds more complex deck building. It gives resources and it frees up design to be able to power scale the way that the old heads are used to, and not just be able to go like we had with Attack on Titan going, here's an overpowered card, it goes in every single deck on this symbol. Megalomania is limited to fire and void. You can't just go, cool, I'm just going to shove this into every fire deck to answer any character I don't like. I love that. I think in terms of internal design, tension, once I found out, could be spent like regular momentum. I was an avid person saying it shouldn't be. In sealed, at least, there's enough answers that you basically just go, cool, you've got attention, I'm aware of what these abilities do, and I have answers to deal with it. I am still very worried about an overabundance of easy momentum, even if the tension attacks aren't the best or the most, like competitive. Like Godzilla has better options, but then getting free momentum is never a bad thing for that character. So overall, if I was going to give it, say, a score of 10, I'd probably say 6, 7.
Of course you would.
Yeah, like 6, 7.
Nice. Like 6, 7. Nice. Sam, what about you?
I'm honestly not that upset about the shipping delays because I feel like it mainly hit the US and we've had it good for too long, so it's about time that we got some bad luck.
Plus, the communication was very good from the company on that. They let people know very quickly what was happening with it.
Yep, I do appreciate that. I think this is a very good tech set. Like, it techs out options for a lot of different characters, kind of like a Rising Tides type of set, raising a whole bunch of other characters that you might not even look at locally to, like, hey, I could make something fun out of this, or hey, this is a specific answer to this kind of strategy and stuff. While a lot of the characters don't really excite me that much, I do think it is a very helpful set to have, especially being like a small bridge set. I'd probably go about a 7 out of 10. I think it's pretty good. I don't find it really any offensive. Tension still, it remains to be seen how impactful that is, because of course it is tied to the attacks that you're playing. But Roman Cancel's fun, if a little complicated and hard to remember sometimes, but once you get used to it, I think it'll be all right. So I'd give it a 7.
Nice. Yeah, I think piggybacking on what you were saying, I think the biggest strength of this set from a gameplay perspective is the like overall like tech pieces that it gives to everything else. The amount of like, oh yeah, this card could probably go in like every one of these type of decks, or like, oh, this is a good thing for like this archetype of strategy. I think it has a lot of that going for it. I think in terms of specifically the core mechanic of the set with tension, it plays really well in sealed. And in like the actual game itself, it's mainly being used right for the like the Roman cancel part of it. I have seen in testing so far come up not as frequently on defense, just because it's the same type of boat where like your opponent could just have a defensive resource in play that says spend a momentum to do like the same thing as Roman cancel, and you can play around it. And this one's not that obfuscated either because they don't wait to build it after their attack string is done. And then you're like, oh dang, I shouldn't have given you momentum because you're building a cheerleader. It does what it says on the tin. They're putting the Roman cancel in their momentum during the attack that they want to hit you so that they can fuel it later. So like I like that there's that like amount of counterplay to it, and even if the counterplay is as simple as, hey, block this idiot if you don't want your opponent to get momentum. there have been other attacks that like never have been on symbol for like the characters that really want it that do print momentum as part of their attack. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I think in terms of overall like viability as a mechanic, it's pretty strong. But it's not like too strong in the fact that they balance the tension attacks to be a little bit less good on average because you're stapling the text print to momentum on every one of these cards. So I like that. I think the art, absolute banger, like fantastic out of the ballpark. They did a great job with that. I'm really excited for all the like potential promos and like playmats and stuff like that. Like the one that they sent us for like content creator box openings and stuff like that. I got the May mat. I was a very big fan of that.
Nice.
And then in general, like the participation ride the lightning promos and the top cut tyrants raves from Scotland. Those looked insane. So I overall am incredibly happy with this set, even if the power level wise, based on just it being like a smaller set, means that there's only like a few cards that like really rise to the top. I think that's perfectly reasonable for a small set like this. And like you were saying, I think we're going to see a lot of these cards, Megalomania specifically, around for a while. So I would give this set a strong like 9 out of 10 for the year. I think it's my favorite set this year.
You know what? Bump mine to a 7.5 because it means we're getting fighting games back into the
Well, we know
rotation.
from
So
next year we're
7.5.
getting fighting games, but yeah,
Yeah,
when
but this is where it started.
when Chris Smith showed me the images of the alt arts, I immediately went to like Megalomania, which I pulled the second one of, and I absolutely
There
fell
we
in
go.
love with that immediately. I know Chris has even come around to the design of the alt arts as well after actually seeing them in person. The digital,
Oh, they're sick. Yeah.
the digital framing didn't do them justice. I think they made very good design choices from here. In terms of like the creative side of it. Speaking of impacts of the future, like, this is a good example that we're going to see more fighting games. More people have been calling for sets like this because you buy a case and you essentially get a play set of everything. You don't need to keep hunting packs. You don't need to rely on the secondary market as much. You just if you invest in a case, you have pretty much one of everything. And if you want to bling out, if you want to magpie your deck, you can. But it seems to be great for people looking to just like get a master set.
Like one and done it.
Yeah, because I know even some of the old heads were saying Yu Yu Hakusho had a similar size, but in a case of Yu Yu Hakusho, you didn't get four of everything. You struggled to get a place of everything, even when you were getting the same amount of packs.
And that was also back before you got a character in every pack.
Yeah.
Man, trust me, no, I will never forget how spoiled we are now after doing that Cowboy Bebop box opening and out of 24 packs pulling like 6 characters. Like, wow, how did we play this game back then?
Well, it wasn't on the itinerary, but we have essentially gone through it all in less than an hour. So, one final thing before we like fully wrap up, because I don't like doing stream less than an hour. It seems just to not be the best use of everyone's time.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've had a token card similar to the skill tree. It's a reference card. It's not an actual physical card that needs to be part of your deck or deck list. What would you like to see for the future of token cards?
So it's interesting because this one's like kind of tied to it's tied to the mechanic, right? So like it's weird because this is not a game where like you really can put tokens out or like have them mean something that's not like like I guess you could theoretically put like a sealed token on top of a foundation that has no text or like you know a sealed token on your attack in your card pool if it gets negated or something. um I like it for this. It's weird in the same way that like if you remember, well, I guess not if you remember, but like if you've heard about way back in the day for like Magic the Gathering, they had like a people were complaining because they had like an alt art cryptic command, which has like 4 to 5 lines of text, but they made a textless version of it that was just a full art. So like your opponent would cast it and you would go, what does that do? And they would go, it does these things.
It does stuff.
And it's like 4 lines of text and you pick 2 of them or something like that. And like Roman cancel is a complicated mechanic that does what it says on the tin, except when it doesn't because it doesn't say anything, which is this token. But I think they were very smart putting Roman cancel mechanics on the back of character cards. And I think this token is cool. I really like the alt art frame of stuff, and I really like the textless characters because it's kind of just like these are for display, or it's like characters that don't have like the craziest, most complex lines of text on them, generally speaking. And if they do, you can just like play with your cool one, which looks like nice for like a stream, like on like a feature match, or just in general, you get to be like, yeah, I'm flexing my cool cards. And then you can just hand your opponent your Roman cancel token, which you're going to make over the course of the match. That is also your character with its Oracle text. So I think that's a good idea
Yeah.
in that regard. And I think moving forward, maybe they could do cool stuff with like just a token that says like sealed or frozen or something like that. And you just like put it on top of your card in your stage. So it's like a
Uh,
physical reminder to move it. But
so when I meant token cards, I was more in the article when they introduced tokens. They were saying this is like a momentum that's created, and when it disappears, it just blinks out of existence. So if you spend it, it doesn't go to discard.
I
They've,
see what you're
yeah,
saying.
they've also hinted that we could see this on attacks and foundations or backups. And my head immediately went to, and I'm working on a script for it for a video. This could be the answer to something that we lost with the new characters. We can see token character stacking.
Could do that. Yeah, you could do something like that for sure. I think it's like other because I play a lot of different card games, so like other games that have like mechanics that like create this card basically, or like bring this token in or spawn this in from outside of the game. I think as long as it's codified well in the rules, like what happens to these things, like in Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, a token can't be like put face down, or when it leaves the field, it's gone and doesn't like die or do whatever. So like if we have real like tangible ways to be like, hey, here's every single interaction that could come up with like wherever I put this token in any of our infinite different game zones, like what happens when it goes here, what happens when it goes here, what happens when
Yeah,
this, as long as all of those questions are answered like well, I think it's a great space for design, because it means that functionally what you can do is with every attack or every character or every card that generates a token that says something on it more than just like reminder text of how a mechanic works, you are functionally saying this is a more complex effect than we had space for on this card. And we're doing this for like space management in
yeah,
terms of like a card could say enhance flip, do this thing, or enhance flip, spawn this token that does a whatever. And then that is basically just saying, hey, this card is supposed to have like 6 or 7 lines of text, but actually we only had space for like two. So
yeah. To go back to your Yu-Gi-Oh example, also future-proofing the tokens that you produce, because in
oh, for
Yu-Gi-Oh you
sure.
produce a token, go, you can't retribute it. It's like cool, I'll fuse it, synchro it, XCs it. It's like, oh yeah, all these things that weren't considered when these tokens were created. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How about yourself,
Honestly, I
Cameron?
don't know if we need more tokens.
Hmm?
I don't know if we need more tokens. I'll take that hard line stance.
Ooh,
Roman cancel's fun, but if tokens are going to be like temporary things, kind of like how the Roman cancels leave at the start of your next turn, I think being able to generate them in other game zones could just be really weird. Uh, and otherwise, it's just like, why not just print the actual card? I know. We talked about Mitch talked about like if you wanted to shorten the text, put a token in that adds, basic various effects, but I don't know, man. I don't know if we need that. This game's complicated enough.
no, that's fair. It's just because of the Roman Council one, the hint that we could see more. It would be very cool to see, like, even if multiple got a full-on errata that said create tokens of this card that's stay in the card pool, but then disappear at the end of the turn. That
You would have to really hard rewrite multiple, because those multiple face downs can go to momentum, and that would, as a token, if it leaves the card pool, it would disappear, so you wouldn't
yeah,
be able to gain your momentum. So
that's
you'd
what I
have
mean.
to
Like,
completely rewrite the
yeah,
ability.
that's what I'm saying. Full on, but if they changed in multiple to do that, that's might be a way to get around it. Or if they want to thematically, we're probably not going to see MHA anymore after this year. But if they wanted to do more twice stuff, or more of the new of the toga from the final series, where they just outright producing multiples of characters, going, yeah, here's some token attacks, here's some token foundations, but at the end of your turn they just disappear.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I can see it. I mean, like I'm down for whatever the future holds realistically, as long as they're still exploring like new design space and like keeping cards fresh. I'm excited to see whatever they have.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we've just got out. Like, well, I said just like we've been a couple of years out of the Giro meta, where Giro was restraining what design could do, and this new token design is more expanding what design can do. They've got this whole new toy to play with.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. But as you said, I am the new player focused person.
Yeah.
Let's not make it any too much more complicated than it already is.
For sure.
Let's remember to kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I mean, that's a whole issue on its own part. I mean, what it was 16 months ago, we were told the game was too complicated. It was going to get simpler with Blitz, and then everything kind of
don't even get me triggered on that.
It's
got me and Mr. Stark already have a grudge. Let's not even.
Yeah, I mean, we had someone in Discord asking like, is the starter deck a good way to learn the games? Like, if you're brand new to TCGs, yes, but if you've got any TCG experience, go over Challenger. Starters are not for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And with that, you can go over to uvshermit.com on YouTube and read all the rules.
There you go.
In easy bite-sized videos. I almost said uvshermit.com. I don't have a website.
Yeah, and if we're plugging stuff on the way out, I did candidly pulling the curtain back before the show started. I went and put on my quarter zip and my hat. So check out the trading post on all of our socials, YouTube, Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook, etc.
You've just dropped a new video, I believe.
Yeah, we just I did my content creator box opening. I did, and I posted on the Trading Posts channel where we've got a bunch of like content and stuff from Scotland that we are working on figuring out when that's going to go out. We might wind up doing like, and I say we might wind up doing. It's kind of in my hands at this point, but I'm gonna talk with them about it. I think we've missed our window a little bit, so I think this week in terms of content, we're probably going to focus on the lead up to Buffalo, and then maybe at the end of the year we'll do like a year in review of like what events we went to. And then like prep for worlds and stuff like that. And that's probably where that Scotland footage and stuff will wind up at is like, hey, here's the events we went to. Here's what Scotland looked like. It was a very cool trip. And we all had an immense amount of fun on the subsequent vacation and the event itself. But yeah, we've got that coming down the pipeline. Just in general, it's been a busy time of the year. But yeah, I'm excited about it. And I know the entire team, all the boys are pretty in on it, so keep an eye out for that. Look forward to it.
Is the entire team going to Trading Post? Is the entire Trading Post team going to Buffalo?
It's not everybody. Wub doesn't need to go because he's in first, and no one could kick him off the throne except me if I win the event. Because I don't know if Porat's going. I don't think Porat's going either. So Wub is probably locked for first. Granted, I'm going to say that now, and somehow the monkey's paw is going to curl, and he's going to wind up not first place because I'm a fool. But yeah, Wub's not going. I will be there. Nate will be there. Shree will be there. Alex will be there. Phil's going. Kyle's going. Think we're just missing like a handful of people, but not like we will have a lot of us there, weather permitting.
Welcome, Slice Up. It's great to see you here. But yeah, this game has always been one that's easy to grasp the basics of. Like you just go, you just check the top card of your deck, and that's how you play cards. Like cool, and you go, it actually gets infinitely harder from this point. So it's It's one of the things that when I was at my Riftbound release event, I was listening to Pokemon and Magic players going, Riftbound's really complicated, and I'm like, it's really not.
Like, this is this is easy. It is. I genuinely I think that this game probably has like the best mechanics of any game I have ever played. Period. It is, however, it is a card game player's card game. This game is very hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. With every step that they have made to try and make the game easier, maybe they have succeeded even marginally. And still, that being the case, it is the hardest trading card game that you can play. That is like, also good, right?
But it
Uh,
also,
so like do not feel discouraged if you're not grasping it immediately or if you're not doing well. It's one of those things where like I am on cardboard and I was awful at this game for about 2 to 3 years before I started being passable. Um, and that's just because I also had a bunch of people who were already like on cardboard or good at the game that I could play against and practice into. So like definitely use the resources that you can provide. The community is always super helpful in terms of like if you have someone you want to talk to about cards, or if you have someone you want to play against, etc. Um, reach out. People are super willing to help. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy your time.
it's we have one of the nicest communities. Everyone's more than willing to help. If anyone has questions about the game, if anyone wants to know about interactions, wants to know about ways to play, the community is there to help out. And as Mitch said, every single person that plays this game, whether they're Kevin Broberg with his 2 Worlds wins, or myself who's qualified for Worlds 3 times, and even my friends don't even know how I've done that. We're all just people, and we play the game the same way as everybody else. Uh,
Yeah, the amount of times that I'm still shocked that people reach out to me on Discord. It's just like, hey, I was watching your video and I found you on here. I'm like, oh right, because I'm UVS Hermit on both platforms, so of course I'm easy to find. And it still shocks me when people reach out. I'm just like, oh yeah, all right, cool. I'm just so used to being in the background that I'm not used to people trying to talk to me, and it throws me for a second. So if I'm awkward in our first interactions, I apologize.
Yeah, I'm genuinely humbled and very thankful whenever anyone is like, can you help me out with this?" Or like whenever anyone defers to me as like, "Hey, you know more about this thing." Because like I'm relatively young and like I grew up playing card games, so I was never that person until I grinded and I got to this spot, right? Where like now I am the one that like I would normally when I was like a 16-year-old kid be asking questions to like my friends like, "Hey Jeff, why is this card good?" or like, "Is this good?" or like, "Can I play with you?" or whatever. Uh it's very humbling being in that position where people are asking me those types of questions, and I love reaching out and like telling people whatever they need to like know about stuff or like answering any questions that I have the ability to help with. Um I did you like wherever like you guys went on like a tour of like everything most formats a one trick. So I will pick one thing that I'm good at or like, and I will iterate on it. So if you have questions about that specifically, I can help a lot. But everything else, I will do my best.
yeah, I mean, like you said, you had a great conversation with Kevin at Glasgow. I had a great conversation with Kevin at Glasgow with the interview, which is going up next week, where I've said repeatedly he absolutely humbled me about the OP decisions. Uh, the year's starting to wrap up. Borderlands hasn't been the best way for the game to kind of like go out for us internationally. So hopefully Buffalo
Whoops.
can end the
Yeah.
year on a hype.
Mhm. Yeah, I think Buffalo's gonna be really cool because, like I said, it's gonna be one of the sweatiest events. It's gonna be like a fucking, or sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse.
Yeah, go for
It's
it.
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be like
10 minutes in, we're fine.
okay, perfect. It's gonna be like a 50 plus person event that is just like the sweatiest gamers grinding as hard as they can to have the company pay them for worlds, and also just like a bunch of people trying to get to that 200 point mark. So it's like it's all of the best people or all the people that are like within striking distance of auto qualifying for day two, playing their decks that they think they can beat everyone else that's doing that with. So it'll be good universes for sure.
So it's going to be a small event, but it's going to be more concentrated competitiveness. So it's going to be like,
It's going to be more
Yeah,
quality over quantity.
right. Functionally, it will just be like round one is top cut. Like you are playing out top cut while you're there, and it's just cut to top 50. It's just like everyone who's going is risking cold weather and snow right before Christmas because they need the points, and it's just all the people that want it the most playing the best deck that they can.
And of course, travel is always more expensive around the holidays, also. So you're paying out the nose.
Then we know.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll let you go, Mitch.
I was gonna say I'm fortunate in that it's not that far from me driving wise because I can cut through Canada. So a handful of the boys are flying to me from where it's farther, and then I'm driving. So like, weather permitting, it's gonna be an easier trip. Granted, again, I say that the second finger on the monkey's paw curls, and I'm just snowed in to Buffalo, New York for Christmas. But um, yeah, I think it'll be a crazy event. They're doing coverage of it. I don't know who's on commentary or like when/where the stream is going to be started, but I'm sure it'll be on the official channel.
Yeah.
So definitely tune into that if you're not attending. And it'll be a good spot to see if all of us were any amount of right or wrong about Guilty Gear, right?
This is
It's
true.
impacting the meta because
So there'll be
Top 4
no
attempt. Let's
there'll be
go.
no misplay
Yeah, right.
takebacks in our event coming up.
Yeah, right.
And Cam has no
Misplay
idea what I'm on about.
takebacks.
Cam has no idea what I'm on about.
No, what did I miss? What? Misplay
Uh,
takebacks?
So there was a big controversy in the most recent top 8 of I think it's Worlds for Magic. It wasn't a Pro
Yeah.
Tour, it was just like actual top 8 Worlds. A player taps the mana. Like if you're familiar with how Magic works, they tap the mana, they place the spell on the table, think about what they are doing, count some stuff, know like anything changes on the board or whatever, but they sit and think about it for like basically 30 seconds. Then they go to their opponent, can I take that back without like finishing resolving the spell? But it was like sitting on the stack for like 30 seconds. And the opponent goes, yeah, sure. And then the judges are like, okay, yeah. His opponent gave him permission to do that. He takes that back and then wins the game. And people were like, wow, that's crazy. You're just doing takebacks at Worlds. That's like functionally cheating. And there's like whole arguments on either side of it where it's like he didn't gain any new information. His opponent said it was fine, blah, blah, blah. I think the TLDR of it is this would not have been an issue if his opponent was like, no, you can't take it back. Then he wouldn't have taken it back and just lost. But like, ultimately, it's a bad look like for the player because he was up 2 games in their best of 5 series because that's how Top Cut works in that game to like help eliminate variance. So like if he shipped it and misplayed there, he would have been down 1 game and just had to win one of the next like 3 or 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And B, it is strange to like, if I went and I played a card against you in like Universus specifically, and I was like, I will play Megalomania on a 5, and I put it in my card pool, and then I count stuff out, but I don't make the check for it, and I don't reach for the top of my deck outside of to like count the number of cards in it. And then I go, do you mind if I play something else first? And it's been 30 seconds. A lot of it is kind of depending on like the stakes, right? But this was Worlds, right? So like,
Yeah.
generally speaking, people in this community are a little bit more laid
especially if it's a
back
best of 5 and I'm down 2 games. No,
yeah,
you can't
100%. You place this card on the table for 30 seconds. So
But
like,
he had the nicest
a lot of people.
opponent.
Yeah, he had a very nice opponent. But like,
Yeah, and I'm the type of guy who will teach people how to beat me in locals when we're playing. But when there's stakes on the line, if I need something, sorry,
no,
nice
for
guy
sure.
goes out the window, and this teacher starts caning people.
True. Yeah. Ultimately, at the end of the day, like his opponent and the judges let him take it back, and the judges let him take it back because his opponent let him take it back, and his opponent could have just said no. So like realistically, that's the short and tall of it. But a lot of people don't like that guy as a player in general already prior to this, and are like
Yeah.
looking for any type of like repercussions because they don't like him for that reason and because like this, that, and the other thing. It's a bad look.
Yeah.
It happened. It's not like illegal technically by the definition of the rules in the game. It's
True,
just
but you'd
not
also think that if you've made it to top cuts of Worlds, you would have the foresight not to do things like that, and you would make sure things going forward
a little bit more
like you wouldn't
context than what
want to take it back.
A little bit more context from what Mitch said there is this is a player who's won Worlds previously in the past, so has a very good knowledge of the game. But
oh yeah, then that's like some of our champions doing stuff like that, and you're like, I think you should know better than this.
People looking at his previous stream games and were saying there was definitely something up with him this weekend because he was playing sloppily on all his stream games. He was doing lots of takebacks. He was He played. I don't as Players Kenobi said, he wasn't cheating. He was just playing very sloppily, which he had a very nice opponent. He had very considerate judges. But like Mitch said, if his opponent just said no, play as is, then it would be a completely different situation.
Yeah.
Kevin's favorite character from Guilty Gear is Soul Bad Guy. I mean, that's fair. He's a very fun character.
Soul Bad Guy's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I was just building a Tension Echo Soul Bad Guy for one of my locals, and he's got some schmoves. It's just, where do you find your damage?
Yeah.
And the damage is sometimes you just throw 12 attacks in a row.
Right. Yeah, they did a really good job in this set of just being like, every character does something cool. And that's like partially due to the fact that it's a smaller set, so they had more time, or like they have more space to work with in just the set, where it's like, yeah, all of these characters do something kind of indicative of like what they would do in the game, or in general, they have like cool mechanics associated with them. Soul Bad Guy's mechanic is just very cool in general, and it leads to like a very fun deck building puzzle of you going, well, if I just play no fire attacks and only the attuned ones, then I can play a cool free fire attack at the end of my string. And that's like a fun, yeah, exactly, and that's like a fun puzzle to do anyway.
I did play my Soul Bad Guy against Blanche, who's in the chat, and I have one specific goal for Soul Bad Guy. And you just mentioned, Cam, where do you find your damage? You find your damage in the extra turn you take off the Founding Titan's power, because
there you go.
Soul Bad Guy can get there that so easily. I was like, I want to do this once,
or just throw it at the end of a string. On like a 12 with +5 to your check, and like, here, you have no cards left in your hand, eat 10.
Slice Up is asking if there's any Guilty Gear characters that you would like to have seen printed. I know nothing about this IP, so I can't say anything.
Yes. I don't know if they're in Strive, but I know absolutely one. So I will let Mitch go while I'm looking this up.
As far as characters that are like in card art in the set, even that aren't a character, I think Faust is like in Strive. I'm pretty sure, the guy with the bag on his head.
That's my number one. I want creepy doctor dude with a giant scalpel. That dude is fair. I've never played a Guilty Gear game, but that dude looks sick as hell.
Guilty Gear Strive. Let me look at the Strive roster and see if I can find something that's not stealing your answer.
Oh no, I have a couple of answers, but all my answers are based on looks, because I don't know nothing about this game, but this character Testament, who is on the card Elegant Grim Reaper, she's dope as hell looking.
Mm-hmm.
And the living bed, the bed that fights on behalf.
Yeah.
Bedman. I want that. Make that a tech-based character, and let's just rock on with some dude in a coma sleeping on a fighting bed.
There you go.
Those three would be three that I would want to see in like a second Guilty Gear set. I think that would be really dope. But again, it's just based off looks and vibes, because I know nothing about the actual game itself.
Yeah. I think I have played or like looked at some amount of Guilty Gear in the past, just because the designs are so cool and sick. And I want to say it was like Exert or something like that was the last one that I looked at, or like even played a game of. I like the guy that fights with a flag. I'm pretty sure he's like Kai's son or something like that. It's like Sin Kisuke. Maybe?
Oh yeah, I was just looking at him because I was like, man, it looks like he has a scythe. How many people are scythe wielders in this game? But no, he's got like
it's a flag. Yeah.
I guess fighting with a flag is so weird, but fighting with a scythe is also so weird. So that's...
Well, there's this chick, Abba. She fights with a giant key with a face.
Fighting with a giant key has been normalized for years.
Not a key this big. This ain't no Keyblade. This is a key as big as she is, and she's the one on Jealous Homunculus.
Oh, that's a weird. Okay.
Wait until you see her in full profile with this key that looks like it's got its mouth stitched together and is looking very concerned as to why it's being held.
I'm still getting over the sentient bed. The guy from Calling from Shadows seems really cool. Like the blindfolded guy with a massive red blood knife.
Oh my god, there's someone that fights with a billiard set named Venom.
Of course, what?
And he's got like an Egyptian eye painted into his hair. This is hilarious. I'm putting this in the Discord. You got to see this, Brett. This is hilarious. Look at this dude. At least I hope it's a dude. I think it's a dude. Yes, it says he is gentle. He is a gentle and honest man. Then here's the weird key lady.
Is it Asuka R hashtag or whatever?
No, Venom is the billiards guy.
Mm-hmm.
Asuka R. That's the dude from. Wow, that's Staff. Holy hell.
Yeah, he's on a card in this set. He looks really cool.
Yeah, he's the one who ignores block tricks.
Yeah, he's the one who ignores block tricks. He looks really cool, and he kind of reminds me of the if you've seen Hell's Paradise, the anime.
I have not. That's on my watch list.
The stuff that happens on that like island or whatever with the people who can like change forms and stuff like that, and they have like flowers growing out of stuff. He kind of looks like one of those guys.
Yeah, the godlike beings.
Yeah, there we go. I think his design is very cool. But like I said, that is the one constant for like Guilty Gear / Arc System where stuff is everything looks crazy.
Yeah.
Everything looks so cool.
And it's great that they've been able to reference characters and kind of like show off that kind of in the art without having to have those characters in there. It isn't something we've really been able to do outside of, say, Girl Power, where we had the characters and then we had the back page cards all being card out for different characters.
Right.
Right.
Guilty Gear is a set that absolutely looks dope.
Do you think we'll see more?
Yeah, there are some characters I hope we better.
I really hope so, man. I really hope so.
Because I need a Faust character because that dude looks creepy as hell, and I want to fight like with this character. He's got a giant scalpel. This dude's neat.
If I remember correctly, he in Exert or whatever, his like finisher maybe or like level 3 something. It's like you like if you hit your opponent with it, they play like 3-card Monty or like find the cup or whatever, and then if they get it wrong, he like pops up out of the ground and does like the 1,000 Years of Death thing that Kakashi does in like Naruto or whatever. Like I think it's called like a Concho or something like that. Like if he gets it wrong, he just like whoop, like pops up out of the ground, and then you take like a bunch of damage. But yeah, Faust is a weirdo.
Yeah, but I'm about that kind of weirdness.
No, for sure. He's cool. Like, there's a lot of cool looking weirdo characters in our game. Like, what's his face? Valdo from Soul Calibur. There you go. Jeez,
yeah, Valdo was wild.
Yeah.
His needle. Oh, apparently, Faust's needle is a little bit from promiscuous. Promiscuous?
His needle is a little promiscuous. I see.
Yeah. That's a bit awkward to put there. Right, I think we'll wrap up there because we're just rambling.
Yeah, I was gonna say at this point we're just talking about how cool Guilty Gear is, the property, not the set. But thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm glad that I got to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the Guilty Gear meta pre-Buffalo. In general, this will help me think about that for myself. But I'm glad I got an opportunity to come on. And yeah,
it's always great.
Great talking with you guys.
Yeah, it's always great having you on. It was great seeing you in Glasgow. Hopefully, we'll get to see
absolutely.
See a bit more of you. And it's been a nice warm up for Where's the Rub recording that you're going to be doing in a bit.
Yeah, I hope so. It's like herding cats, man. We've been supposed to record this episode for weeks, but we've got to do it before Buffalo, because if we wait, then we'll have to talk about whatever PAX, Scotland, Houston, and Buffalo, and we can get it done before then, but it'll be up at some point. Hopefully by the end of tonight, tomorrow.
Now I know you said we were winding down, but I do have one last question for you. That's of the utmost importance. Did Wub enjoy his Iron Brew?
So I did not bring it to Houston. I do still have it. It might be one of those things where I have to just like find an opportunity to go visit Wub. Because like we play Grand Archive or whatever, so like I might find a regional for Grand Archive and go down there for that and just bring it with me then. I did travel home with it. I did leave Scotland with it in my luggage. But yeah, I liked Iron Brew.
Yeah,
It was cool.
yeah,
It's kind of just like it tastes like bubblegum soda, which was like I forgot that bubblegum was like a flavor. And when I had it, I was like, this has such a specific taste and I know what it is. What the fuck is happening? And then someone took a sip and was like, yeah, it's bubblegum. And I was like, oh duh. But I was like stressing over it for like 10 minutes. I was like, what is this?
But make sure you check out Where's the Wub so you can also find out how Mitch enjoyed black pudding, haggis, and all the other British staple foods he tried throughout the entirety weekend
Exactly.
in Glasgow. We'll wrap it up. Big shout out to Mitch for being here again. Go check him out on YouTube under Mitchell Semino, as he said. Go check out the trading posts on all their amazing formats. They've been doing some great work in the community. They made sure loads of people could get to Glasgow, myself included. Cameron's benefiting from a new mic that he did part of a retro trade for. They're absolutely huge supporters of the community, wanted to highlight content creators, aspects of the community. The trading post is just an absolute pillar of the community, and they've only been around a couple of months. So I'll happily sing their praises, and myself and here are going to be doing a Guilty Gear box battle in a week, so that's going to be really cool. And of course, if you're a new player, old player, and just want to have some better understanding of upcoming mechanics as they come out, check out UVS Hermit, who's the best place to get all your rules information. And if you want the craziest theories and tinfoil hats, as well as possibly the most up-to-date news, do check out myself on YouTube on UK Versus. I have 120 subs away from 1,000, and then at that point, once I get to 1,000, I have to review the last 19 years of Universus cards in a tier list. So I'm kind of not wanting to get there because that's over 10,000 cards. But the longer it waits, the more that number grows.
19 years, like from the very beginning.
Yeah, the agreement was if once I get 1,000 subs,
that's gonna include stuff you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, the agreement was once I hit 1,000 subs on YouTube, I do a tier list of every Universus and UFS card ever printed. The logistics of that I don't know.
Is that going to be one big video? Is that going to be split into part 17?
It will be streamed.
We'll have to find out.
It will be streamed. How it goes onto YouTube will probably be split up, but the agreement was I would stream it. So I never thought I'd get to this point, in all honesty.
I'm still creeping up towards 500, and at that point I'm going to have a giveaway, so that's about as far as my thoughts have gone.
That's absolutely fair. Right, well, keep an eye out on UVS content creators next week. I've got a feeling that we might be seeing some very cool things coming up, especially if we can get Where's the World leading up to Buffalo. As C-Dog said, it should be a very easy 24-hour stream for me to do. We'll see you all in our next content.
Iron Man style.
And next week, because it's Buffalo Regional, there's not going to be too many people around to watch the live stream outside of our amazing our UK community, which will probably be watching the Buffalo stream as well. Cameron and I are going to do a tier list on all the champion cards that have been printed this year and are going to be legal next year, and then all the product that's been produced this year, because I think that's just a fun stream that people can go back and watch afterwards. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Mitch, for being here, and I hope you guys have a great week.
See you guys.
Have fun, guys.